that is because it was my dream, and maybe even as a child I dreamt of painting and being creative, but I never knew where to go. So I studied history of art, and I admired all the works I looked at all the time during my studies. And I thought, wow, it must be so wonderful to be able to paint and to create something like that. But I didn't think that was something for me at that time. So I started working, and but it kept talking to me in my head, follow your dream. So after a while, I decided to stop working and to concentrate on my own creative development. And I did it when I was already a mother of 3 children, so I have to find a balance between being a mother and not working, not earning money, but developing myself. So it was, well, it was a lot of work. I had many teachers in over that period of time, but I also found that learning to paint is really working very hard. So you have to paint a lot to learn. So that's what I did. Egg tempera is a very old technique. You must know that to make paint, you need pigment and you need something to make it stick. So many people know oil paint, but a very old way to make pigment stick on a surface is egg, for instance. And people used blood, they used what's the word? Raisin. Many things that make something stick on the surface. But egg was also used by the Botticelli and by Michelangelo, and many painters used egg tempera. I think both. In the beginning, it was distracting, but I think that was for everybody. It's weird because in my studio I have groups and I have lessons and there's a lot going on and everything stopped all of a sudden. So I had to get used to that. But of course that's also an opportunity for me to use this very strange period to do something I'm not able to do in normal life. I went with my husband and especially with a very dear friend of mine who's half Chilean. Her father was Chilean. She was born there, but her mother was Dutch, and her parents separated. She grew up here in Holland, but she still has her family in Chile, and she invited us to come with her. And I've been there twice before. The first time was with her, before we were married and everything.
You went alone the first time?
With my friend.
Yeah.
And we traveled together from Santiago up to Ecuador. So that was my first very foreign trip I took, and my first meeting with a faraway country. And I loved Chile from the very first day I arrived there. So years later I went back with my husband and children, also to visit my friend there, but also to travel with my family. And now we went back again, and we were invited to go on the boat in Patagonia. And it was there that I felt this is something so extraordinary. This landscape that's sort of untouched by humans. And it was the first time I thought, this is what I'm going to paint. It was the first time that it was a landscape that was very far from my roots, so not something I'm connected to in everyday life, but I feel connected somehow, maybe because I visited the country a couple of times, but also because the landscape is so pure. Well, it was my pleasure having you here. We had a great time last year, and so good that happened before this strange period we're living in now. And I was extremely grateful to you all and to the embassy that I had the opportunity to show my work on Chilean grounds, and that was very, very special.